Wrap your mind around this. So 115 cars in the eights. This is why I don't need to do this live, but 115 cars in the eights. There are 21 cars that are from 80 to 849. So fucking 94 cars from 850 to 899.
Yeah.
That's
to me that's the sweet spot.
Yeah. Guys, welcome to Drag Driver Pete News presented by Summit Racing. Like we've said several times, the AFCO team is right next door to us in booth 4601. So we're going to be bothering the hell out of them all week at PRI. So they're going to have Steve Morse's Boostmaster wagon in that. So that'll be kind of cool. I'm hoping that their booth layout allows us that shot when we're doing an interview with promoter or racer that will have the Boostmaster wagon in the back. That's kind of my hope.
Travis says he's got an Insta360 camera. We can clip it on you.
Oh, I'm in. That'll be a blast. Yeah. Plan on it for sure. Well, man, I wanted to talk about Drag and Drive by the numbers, right? So this is where I get a chance to get just a little bit nerdy, and hopefully we don't lose a bunch of people when I start talking this stuff. But this is what makes this kind of racing so interesting to me. Obviously, I worked on the top 100 national event list the other day. Again, unique racers using their fastest average time, all that kind of stuff. This list here is going to break down. These aren't unique racers that make up these. How many cars are in the sixes, how many cars are in the tens, and all that kind of stuff. These are everyone's actual finishes. So these are cars that finished an event. We are also going to talk about how many cars did not finish an event, which is going to blow some minds as well. So me and you will just kind of rotate through this. But total entries for the year: 1,943 racers competed in a quarter mile national level event. Dude, in 2022 there were 2,100 racers total in Drag and Drive.
Right.
Like, dude. Now we've got that many in just a quarter mile event.
Yep. So unique racers, that jumps down to 17 and 92.
Yeah, which tells you 150 racers did more than one event, which is pretty freaking awesome. You start thinking about, that's a pretty good number there. Total events that were classified as national level, classified as quarter mile, or had a quarter mile class in them. There were 7 of those. So of 53, there's only 7 events that make up 1,943 racer entries.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. So jumping into racers by average numbers. So there were 14 cars out of those 7 events that were in the sixes, which is pretty impressive.
The most ever. Obviously we've never seen that. We've never had a top 10 in the sixes. 4 of those are Bryant Goldstone.
Right.
That's pretty badass. 25 cars in the set with a 7-second average. That's a bunch. I don't think we've ever had that big of a number as well.
115 in the 8s, which is really wild. There's a big jump from 25s in the 7s to 115 in the 8s.
Yeah, that is the 8-second street car the new fast car?
I think that's I definitely think there's a line between the 8s and quicker, and we talk about all the time with, cage requirements and everything else that I think 8s is where a majority of the people, that's where they want to get to, that 850 range, because it takes quite a bit to go beyond that, not only from the car itself, but the safety requirements and all that. So 115 in the 8s is a lot.
Wrap your mind around this. So 115 cars in the 8s. This is why I don't need to do this live, but 115 cars in the 8s. There are 21 cars that are from 80 to 849. So fucking 94 cars from 850 to 899.
Yeah.
That's
crazy. To me that's the sweet spot.
Yeah, for sure. 187 cars in the 9, so we're starting to see that bigger number. Obviously a little slower cars are definitely easier to build and easier on Drag and Drives, but dude, and these are averages. These are cars that finished an event. So 187 cars in the 9s is pretty badass.
Yeah, and the biggest of all of these is the 10-second, 289 cars in the 10s.
I think this is the second year that we've had where the 10-second cars have been the biggest grouping. For a long time before that, it was always the 12-second cars that were the largest grouping. But 289, bro, that's insane. That is insane.
All those 12-second guys inch their ways up to 10s now.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what happens. 246 cars in the 11s. Man, that's a huge number.
Yeah, 257 cars in the 12s, which is
Yeah.
also your second largest class still.
So what's that? 800 cars, pretty close. I don't do public math, but somewhere in there, 750 to 800 cars, right there in a 10 to 12 second. I mean, that's the bread and butter of. I feel like what we all feel is a very quick street car. 188 cars in the 13s.
Yeah, and then 108 in the 14s.
Yeah, and then everything else after that's 153 cars make up the rest of the list there to bring out all that.
So interesting number. Out of those, this number here, does that come out of the 1792 or the 1943?
So these will be the 1943.
So out of 1943 cars, 361 didn't not finish an event, which is pretty low, honestly.
Yeah, which racers know. When you want performance that wins, you want AFCO. From shocks and suspension to cooling brakes and more, AFCO Racing has been helping teams go faster for over 30 years. Built by racers, for racers. Check out the AFCO Advantage and follow them today on social media for the latest in performance parts. AFCO Racing, built to win. Yeah, which that's a little less than 20%, which is about normal.
Yeah.
18%. It seems like that is just about the running math around the year for different events, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, 361 cars didn't finish, man. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, and that's out of 7 events. So if you think about it that way too, there's what's that end up being? 70 an event, 50.
Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's a good point. So again, these are quarter mile national event averages that we went through there with all the numbers. Just one more time, run through those. I am doing the same stats and numbers and all that stuff on 8th mile events as well, because there were a bunch of those too, and a bunch of 8th mile classes within events. So I'll have those breakdowns as well. I'll probably just make an article on those and post it up in there. So pretty awesome, man. You just think about 1,943 racers entered in a quarter mile class or event in 2025. That this thing is growing leaps and bounds. I mean, we just can't explain it enough to everybody that's out there. It's why it's so important for you guys to go by these booths and say thank you and all that kind of stuff. We listed out in episode 132, I think, of the show that there was, we have a whole list of all of the other booths that are Drag and Drive friendly, that have either Drag and Drive cars in them or are a part of the community in some way. They're a sponsor of a brand or something like that, or an event or something. Man, just guys, if all you do at PRI is talk about Drag and Drive, you've done it. You've helped the entire sport. So we saw it last year.
So out of those numbers, which one of those surprised you the most?
Man, truly the 9-second cars. I'm going to look back. I wonder how many were 9s in 2024 season, just based on percentages. I think that would be an interesting number to find out, because the 9-second street car is very fast. But just doing that there with the 94 cars that finished with an 850 to 899 average, that's pretty badass. Hang on, let me look. Same question for you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I was kind of tossed up between the 14 cars in the 6 is obviously impressive, but the 289 and the 10s was another one, because like you said, a couple years ago 12s were the biggest class, and I'm kind of curious, if we were to look at that list of 289 that are in the 10s, were those cars that were in the 11s and 12s, a couple years ago, did they improve to the 10s? Are they new racers that came into the 10s? Just, try to see year over year, is it actually people getting quicker, or are we just getting more people in? And it's probably a pretty good combination of both, honestly.
Yep. We love the 850 stuff. Here's you another stat. You ready for this one? 33 cars finished with an 850 average, like 8500 to 85978 throughout the year. 33 cars, dude.
Is that unique racers, or
no?
Just
that's total.
That's still pretty wild, though.
Yeah, 33 cars. That's more than ran 800 to 849.
That's true. And more cars ran 850s than they did 80 to 849.
Yeah.
And if you think about that, I bet you those 33 that ran the 850 probably have more 849 passes than that whole group of people underneath them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Stuff they couldn't even turn in. Yeah,
right.
That's a great point. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, that group of cars is just so impressive to me. And to have 33, I may write that article too if I've got time. So that's pretty awesome. Go through, name some names, see how many people doubled up. Like Randy Seward's in there a couple times, Brian Acton's in there a couple times, John Moore's in there a couple times,
Jeremy Ortiz maybe.
Probably.
He's another
There's
big 850
Jeremy.
guy. So
Yeah.
pretty
Anyways,
pretty pretty wild. I think that's, for me, that's the long term goal one day is to, you know, be in that 850. I don't know that I can ever keep up like competitive wise with those guys with the everything that we got going on, but it would be cool to, jump into that class one day and, even give it a shot.
yeah, and just make that list, like that'll be interesting to see if once I break it down, like how many guys accidentally got in that class, like they were running in maybe super sport, but end up running in 850 something, and then how many guys were in 850 classes trying to run that 850 number to end up in the winter spot. Pretty crazy, pretty
Yeah.
crazy. So again, thanks to AFCO booth 4601 at PRI. I'm sure that with them being so close, we'll end up with them on the camera at some point talking about all the stuff and all the cool things they got going on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeff Kirchick, great conversation before we move on. It says it's cool to watch the progression in all the classes from 15s to 6s step up their game. Yeah, that is a great point, and probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. We are still working this historical data has really taken on a whole new life of its own, and never thought it would be this busy with stuff, and so it's really pretty crazy to try and just really figure out how to manipulate all this data to where it can be usable for people like that. I mean, a spreadsheet isn't going to do anything for anybody. So trying to figure out how to work around that and make it more user friendly and to where you could find that out. Like a guy like Rick Steinke, could you go in and see that in 2012 he ran a 1050 or a 1250, and then you could see his progression throughout the years. So anyways, working on that hard. That's my plan. One of my plans for early next year is to have that whole system rolled out. Just never would have thought we'd have been covering 50 events a year. I thought we'd be in the 30s, but that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. We love you guys. Guys, thank you so much for being our race car friends. We cannot do this without you guys. I don't know if you know that or not. We kind of enjoy the back and forth. A lot of folks in here saying good morning this morning. Thank you so much for doing that. And then we just ask one thing, just hit that share button as we jump in here and go over all this stuff. And of course, thanks to our sponsors. All this stuff wouldn't be possible without them and you guys. So if you're doing some shopping this weekend, please hit these folks up. Or if you're going to be at PRI, we talked about these, I think, on episode 131 or 132 with everybody's location and booth number and all that kind of stuff. I will be posting that over the next few days as well, because we want you to go by and say hi to those folks and just tell them thanks for the support within the community for sure. So Summit Racing, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, JWire Solutions, AFCO Racing, products, Performa-Built Transmissions, Car Chains 3D, Power Tube TV, WAF Racing, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Y'all, if you're shopping, hit them up, please, please, please. And